So disappointing results here in the second lap, putting it even further behind, pushing the test over a minute later to keep every single app open. Pixel, on the other hand, is clearly struggling. In the 7 years that the Pixel's existed, it has never won a speed test here at PhoneBuff, but today it's looking to break the streak, with the Pixel 8 Pro being powered by Google's all-new Tensor G3 chip, having improved cooling, along with 12 gigabytes of RAM. But the iPhone isn't going to make it easy. Not only is the iPhone powered by Apple's all-new A17 Pro chip, but it's also using faster NVMe storage, where for whatever reason, Google decided to stick with slower UFS 3.1 storage compared to the 4.0 storage found in other Android flagships. Will the Pixel's software optimizations be enough to overcome that, or will the iPhone's win streak over the Pixel continue? Let's find out. Alright, we'll kick things off like we always do by starting the stopwatches on each phone and then jumping into the first row, where the Pixel was able to get the step over the iPhone in Facebook and Starbucks, giving it an early lead as both phones work on Microsoft Word. But it looks like the iPhone has mostly recovered, and heading into Excel, the phones are now neck and neck. Here in the camera app, we're flipping over to the selfie, switching to portrait mode, and then taking the photo, and then waiting until that photo is finished processing before moving on, where the phones completed the task at roughly the same rate. So we'll see if one of them can create some separation here in Snapseed, where we're editing a much higher resolution photo than in previous tests, where the Pixel is actually faster at doing so, allowing it to take the lead as we move on to the video exporting task. Now, this is an area where the iPhone typically has the advantage, but over the years, we've seen plenty of Android phones go toe-to-toe with it. But not the Pixel, with the iPhone ripping through the task at a significantly faster rate. The Pixel is definitely doing this at a slower rate than other Android phones like the Galaxy S23 Ultra, with it taking 13 seconds longer to export the clip compared to the iPhone. And with it also loading Google Trends at a slower rate, the Pixel has really dug itself a hole here. But we're only halfway through this first lap. There's still plenty of time for the Pixel to make up some ground. However, at least in Subway Surfers, it's the opposite, with the Pixel loading that game up at a slower rate, and from the looks of it, it's also slower at loading flip diving. So at this point, I'm not sure if a comeback is in the cards. And really, the hope for the Pixel is for it to at least make up some ground on the iPhone, or at the very least, prevent it from pulling any further ahead. But the iPhone isn't showing any signs of slowing down, with it already 3 full apps ahead of the Pixel as it finishes up with Disney Plus, and improving that lead to 4 apps as it finishes Amazon and the first lap with a time of 2 minutes flat. The Pixel, on the other hand, is clearly struggling. I feel like I say that way more often about Pixel phones and speed tests than I'd like, with it not only loading every single game in the gaming row at a slower rate, but it also loads these lightweight apps like Spotify and ESPN at a slower rate as well. It's the same story here in Disney Plus, and the bleeding continues as it starts working on Amazon, with the Pixel finally completing the first lap a full 27 seconds after the iPhone. I was really hoping to see some improvements in terms of the Pixel's performance, especially with that new Tensor G3 chip, but clearly that's not the case. I feel like Google could have at least spec'd the Pixel with faster UFS 4.0 storage, but for whatever reason, Google didn't and stuck with UFS 3.1, which is only half as fast, allowing the iPhone to finish the entire test first with a time of 2 minutes and 48 seconds. Now, with 12 gigabytes of RAM, the good news is the Pixel shouldn't have any issues keeping all of the apps open and ready to go in the background. The iPhone is able to do that with just 8 gigabytes of RAM, but unfortunately, the Pixel doesn't even do that, with it failing to keep Excel open and then also failing to keep Word open, putting it even further behind. So overall, a disappointing result in both the first and the second laps, with the Pixel completing the entire test a whopping 40 seconds later, making the winner by a huge margin, the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Anyways, that is it for me in this video. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the very next episode.